Let's be honest. When a man doesn't post on social media, women notice, and not always in the way you think. See, men often believe being off social media makes them look mysterious or private, like they're above the crowd, uninterested in attention. But here's the dark truth. When a woman sees that, she starts wondering why. Not just, he's private, but, what is he hiding? Or, why doesn't he want to be seen? Now, don't get me wrong, there's a certain confidence in not needing to show off online. That quiet kind of control can be incredibly attractive, but there's a fine line between being intentionally private and coming off like a man who's disconnected, secretive, or emotionally unavailable. And that's what most men don't realize. Women don't just look at your pictures, they read your silence. Social media today is more than just posts and stories. It's social proof. It's a quick way for women to gauge who you are, how you move, what kind of people you attract, and how you live. When you're completely absent from it, she can't see you. And in her mind, not being visible means not being real. That's where the curiosity and sometimes even the suspicion starts to grow. Here's where it gets deeper. Some women will actually feel drawn to the man who doesn't post. He becomes a little unpredictable, harder to figure out. But at the same time, that mystery can make her anxious. Because in a world where everyone's showing everything, your silence becomes louder. And when a woman can't read you, she'll start to fill in the blanks herself. And that's where things can get messy. So today, we're diving into the dark truth about men who don't post on social media. What women really think, what they assume, and how it affects attraction in ways most men never see coming. 1. The mystery effect. Why your silence both attracts and confuses. There's something about a man who doesn't post that pulls a woman in before she even understands why. It's not just about not having pictures online. It's about the energy behind it. When a man doesn't broadcast his life, it creates a sense of mystery, and mystery triggers curiosity. And curiosity, for a woman, is the spark that makes her want to know more. When a woman first notices a man who's not active online, her mind instantly starts searching for clues. She'll look at his profile, no posts, maybe a few tagged photos, nothing personal, and she'll feel that quiet pull. It's not that she's impressed by the lack of content. It's that she can't read him, and women are wired to read men. We pick up on tone, pictures, patterns, all of it. So when there's nothing to read, it's like being handed a locked book. And the truth is, every woman wants to open it. But here's the part most men miss. That same mystery that draws her in can also make her uneasy. When she can't see how you live, who you hang out with, or what kind of man you are day to day, she'll start to guess. And her guesses won't always be fair. Some women will assume you're too detached. Others might think you're hiding a relationship. Some will even assume you're emotionally unavailable, or worse, uninterested in connection altogether. There's a fine balance here. Your silence online can make you seem powerful and self-contained, but too much silence can make you seem like a man with something to protect, or something to hide. And that's when curiosity starts turning into confusion. I'll give you a picture of how it plays out. A woman meets a guy, confident, composed, great energy in person. They talk for hours, exchange numbers, and she goes home thinking, wow, this guy's different. Naturally, she checks his Instagram. Nothing. No posts, no stories, barely a profile picture. At first, she's intrigued. Who is this guy? But a few days later, that intrigue starts shifting into uncertainty. Why doesn't he post? Is he too serious? Secretive? Is there someone else? That's the moment most men don't realize. When your silence becomes her question mark. See, women are emotional creatures. We connect through patterns, stories, and signals. And when a man doesn't post, we feel both drawn and unsure, like we're standing in front of a door that's halfway open. Your silence makes her chase the idea of you, but it can also make her hesitant to trust it. So while your mystery can pull her closer at first, it's how you carry that mystery that determines if it deepens attraction or kills it slowly. 2. What women secretly assume about private men. Let's get real. When a man is quiet online, women start building stories about him in their heads. And the truth is, those stories can go in two very different directions: respect or suspicion. A woman might admire it, or she might think there's something you're not saying. And most of the time, her assumptions have less to do with you, and more to do with how women feel about visibility, trust, and attention. When a woman sees a man who doesn't post, one of her first thoughts is, he must not care what people think. That's powerful. It tells her you're not performing for validation. You're grounded, focused on your life, not chasing likes. That kind of quiet confidence is attractive because most men today crave attention online. So a man who doesn't need it stands out. It makes her feel like she's dealing with someone who's not easily influenced, someone solid. But here's the other side of it. She might also assume you're closed off, that you have emotional walls up, or that you're trying to keep people from knowing too much about your world. And that taps into a deeper female instinct: safety. Women want to feel emotionally safe before they can trust or open up. And when you give her nothing to go on, she doesn't know if you're genuinely private or just hiding something. For some women, that privacy can even feel like rejection. It's not logical, but emotionally, it's real. If she can't find you online, can't see what your life looks like, she feels like she's on the outside looking in. And if she starts developing feelings for you, that disconnect only grows stronger. She'll start wondering, does he post about anyone? Does he keep every woman hidden like this? Those little thoughts can quietly eat away at her trust before anything even starts. Now here's the interesting twist. Women don't necessarily want you to post everything. They just want to see something. A man who's balanced, who shares pieces of his life without oversharing, signals emotional maturity. It shows he's not trying to impress, but he's also not completely guarded. It's that middle ground that makes a woman feel both intrigued and safe. So when you stay completely private, understand what women are really seeing. They're not thinking, he's mysterious and cool forever. After a while, they start thinking, I can't figure him out, and that makes me nervous. It's not that you need to start posting selfies every week. Far from it. It's about being aware that in a world where connection happens through visibility, too much absence can make a woman question your availability. And in her world, emotional availability is everything. 3. Why some women obsess over men who stay low-key. Here's something most men don't realize. The more low-key you are, the more a certain type of woman becomes hooked on figuring you out. She can't help it. It's not just about attraction, it's psychological. Because when a man gives nothing away, a woman's imagination takes over. And her imagination is powerful. Think about it. Most men online are easy to read. You can tell what they like, what they do, what kind of people they surround themselves with. There's no challenge. But when a man moves quietly, no updates, no status, no display of lifestyle, he becomes different. And in today's attention-obsessed world, being different is magnetic. When a woman meets a man like that, her brain goes into overdrive. She'll start noticing the small things. Your tone, your timing, the way you look at her. She studies those subtle details because you're not giving her a digital trail to follow, and that mystery triggers something emotional. It makes her feel like she's discovering you, not scrolling through you. Imagine this. She meets you, she's intrigued, and she goes to look you up online. She finds almost nothing. Maybe one old photo, maybe a few random likes, and that's it. Instantly, she's hooked. You've become a question she wants to answer. Days later, you're still in her mind, not because you posted something, but because you didn't. That quiet energy stands out in a world that's constantly shouting. But here's where it gets interesting. The obsession she feels isn't about you personally. It's about the emotional chase. The lack of information makes her fill in the blanks, and she'll fill them with what she hopes is true. She might decide you're deep, disciplined, focused, mysterious, all before she really knows you. That fantasy can grow fast, especially if she's emotionally unfulfilled or bored with predictable men. Now, that sounds like a win, right? She's thinking about you constantly, craving your attention, trying to decode your silence. But there's a catch. Obsession built on mystery is fragile, because the moment she starts realizing you're human, not some emotionally untouchable fantasy, the illusion fades. And the same mystery that drew her in can make her lose interest just as quickly. The women who get hooked on low-key men are often drawn to the feeling of uncertainty. It excites them. It keeps them emotionally alert. But once that uncertainty turns into confusion or insecurity, she'll pull away to protect her ego. So yes, being low-key can attract deep curiosity, even obsession. But if that mystery doesn't eventually turn into connection, it burns out. The trick isn't staying unreadable. It's being calm, grounded, and selective, letting your silence mean something, not everything. Because the most attractive man isn't the one who hides. It's the one who chooses what to reveal and when. 4. The smart way to stay private without losing connection. Let's get something straight. Being private isn't the problem. The problem is when your privacy makes you invisible. There's a way to stay low-key and mysterious without disconnecting from the world or from the women you're trying to attract. The difference lies in intention. Privacy should look like control, not isolation. Here's what women respond to. Balance. A man who knows when to speak and when to stay silent, when to show something and when to hold it back. You don't need to post your life story online, but you do need to show that you have a life. That's what creates presence. Because presence, even digital presence, builds trust. Women don't need daily updates, but they do pay attention to subtle cues. A well-placed post that shows your confidence, your hobbies, or your values tells her you're grounded in real life. It communicates that you're living, not hiding. You can still be mysterious while being visible. The key is to make your silence feel intentional, not accidental. Let's break it down simply. Post with purpose, not for attention. 1 or 2 pictures that reflect your lifestyle. Maybe you are traveling, training, working on something meaningful. Tell a story without saying too much. Engage selectively. You don't have to like or comment on everything, but being totally unresponsive can make you seem emotionally closed off. Small gestures show emotional maturity. Be consistent in person and online. If you're confident and expressive in real life but completely absent online, it creates a mixed signal. Women notice that. They start wondering which version is real. Privacy should feel like discipline, not distance. The kind of privacy that says, I don't need to prove myself, not, I'm hiding something. That's a subtle but powerful difference. You have to remember, women are emotional detectives. They read energy. If your social media looks like you've disappeared from the planet, they won't assume you're calm and mysterious. They'll assume you're disconnected or emotionally unavailable. So if you want to keep that private edge, give her something to feel connected to. A glimpse, not a gallery. It's not about what you post. It's about what your online silence represents. If it feels confident and self-contained, it builds attraction. If it feels guarded or defensive, it creates distance. So the smart way to stay private is this. Move quietly, but not invisibly. Be selective, but not secretive. Let your life speak in small, confident moments. When a woman can sense that you're grounded in your privacy, not hiding behind it, that's when she truly respects you. Because mystery without warmth is just emptiness. But mystery with calm confidence? That's power. 5. The final truth. What your online presence really says about you. Here's the truth that most men don't want to hear. Your online presence, or lack of it, says something about you whether you like it or not. Silence still speaks. Every choice you make online tells a story about how you see yourself, how you connect with others, and how emotionally open you are. Women are incredibly good at reading that story, even if you never post a word. When you disappear from social media completely, women don't just see privacy, they see patterns. If you're nowhere to be found, they'll assume you either don't want to be known, don't care how you're perceived, or don't value connection in the same way they do. And whether you like it or not, that shapes attraction. Because attraction isn't only about how you look, it's about how you make her feel. Here's the harsh part. Some men use privacy as a shield. They claim they don't post because they're different or above it, but really, they're avoiding vulnerability. They're scared of being seen, scared of judgment, scared of opening themselves up. And a woman can feel that. She can sense when your silence comes from strength and when it comes from fear. A man who's grounded in himself doesn't need to prove anything, but he also doesn't need to hide. That's the balance most men miss. You can be private, mysterious, and still emotionally expressive. You can live quietly and still be seen, because being seen isn't about exposure, it's about energy. When you understand this, everything shifts. You stop thinking of social media as a performance and start using it as a reflection, a subtle way to show who you are, not to the world, but to yourself. That calm confidence shows up in everything you do. Women can feel it in your tone, your consistency, and the way you move. Here's your wake-up call. Being silent online doesn't make you powerful. Being intentional does. Being private doesn't make you deep. Being emotionally available while maintaining control does. The men who get this right don't disappear to prove a point. They stay grounded, selective, and confident enough to be seen without needing to perform. So if you want your presence, online or off, to attract the right kind of woman, let it say this: I'm not hiding, I'm just focused. I know who I am, and I don't need to broadcast it. That kind of energy doesn't chase attention. It earns respect. And in a world full of noise, that's what truly stands out. The silent confidence that speaks louder than words. When a man doesn't live his life for validation, especially not online, he becomes something rare, a quiet mystery in a world addicted to attention. And women notice that, not just because he's different, but because his silence says something words never could. I don't need you to see me to know who I am. That kind of presence unsettles a lot of women at first. It makes them curious, even slightly nervous, because it breaks the emotional pattern they're used to. Most men reveal too much, chase too hard, or try too often to prove their worth. But a man who doesn't, a man who can walk through life, focused on his own lane, calm, disciplined, emotionally detached, he naturally becomes the one women can't stop thinking about. Because here's the secret most won't tell you. Women might flirt with attention seekers, but they respect men who move in silence. They crave men whose mystery makes them feel something they can't control. It's not about being cold or arrogant. It's about being centered, about knowing your values so deeply that you no longer need to advertise it. That's what makes a woman invest in you emotionally. That's what makes her chase your attention instead of you chasing hers. So, if you're that man who doesn't post much, who keeps his circle small, who builds quietly, don't ever think you're losing out. You're simply operating at a frequency most people can't reach. And the few who can, they'll recognize it and they'll value it.